Lakers made a signing over the weekend, landing Marcus Smart after he got a buyout from the Washington Wizards. Lakers with two buyout signings, one of DeAndre Ayton and now one of Marcus Smart. And again, I think just like with the Clippers, where you look at Bradley Beal, bringing Bradley Beal in at $5 million, you look at value. Marcus Smart here is a value addition. They're using their biannual exception of about, was it 4.7 bond temps? 4.7 million?
Well, it's 5.1 million.
5.1 million. So they're paying him 5.1 million. So you look at the Lakers use their mid-level exception. They signed Jake LaRavia. They gave him a chunk of it. They gave DeAndre Ayton the rest of it. Well, Ayton was about 8.8 million, I believe. And then they give their biannual to Marcus Smart. So you're looking again an expenditure in the neighborhood of $19 million. And you add three players who, in theory at least, should be rotation players, Ayton being their starting center. Bontemps, you've talked for months about the Lakers' need for perimeter defense. Marcus Smart 3 years ago was the defensive player of the year. Jake LaRavia plays wing. Well, Bontemps, are you satisfied?
I was wondering where you were going with that one.
I don't know what we're doing there. I mean, look, here's the thing. Marcus Smart got salary dumped last year by Memphis and just took a buyout from the Wizards. So, and this isn't like a Bradley Beal buyout where Bradley Beal, everybody could agree, is still a good player. I just don't genuinely know what player Marcus Smart is at this point because he basically hasn't played in 2 years, right? Played a combined 54 games the last 2 years. Played 20 games 2 years ago, his first season in Memphis after the trade from Boston.
He's had a crazy series of hand injuries in his career.
I mean, he's been hurt.
Ever since he punched the mirror when he was with
I mean, that was 10 years ago. But I mean,
but he's had a lot of hand injuries.
Yeah, I mean, the way Marcus plays, he tends to miss games anyway. I mean, look, this is very simple. If Marcus is healthy and motivated and is anywhere near the player he was during his time in Boston, the signing will be fine. Like, it'll be a good signing for the Lakers. If he's like he was the last couple of years and he's not that effective and hurt, it's not going to be very good. And you could maybe argue Jordan Goodwin will be a better fit for the Lakers, who they've waived to be able to sign.
Let's talk about that in a minute. But just put Goodwin aside for a second. Go ahead.
That's the whole question. Like, is Marcus going to be able to stay on the court? And can he be effective? He's not a great shooter. He's always been a willing shooter who's very streaky. It tends to be in the low 30s. But he is a guy that, when he's locked in and healthy and playing well, can be a guy who's obviously an impact perimeter defender. But, you know, it's been a while since we've seen that guy. And even the last year he was in Boston, it wasn't the same as the year he won Defensive Player of the Year. So, you know, I would say I get why the Lakers did it, but I think we need to see whether the Marcus Smart from the Boston days can make it to LA.
If Marcus Smart reports to training camp in shape and ready to roll, which really hasn't been the case the last couple of years, then he answers one of the most glaring questions about the Lakers roster, and that's who's going to guard the other team's best perimeter scorer. Obviously, Marcus Smart, if he's right, is the answer to that. He's certainly capable of that. You know, it's hard to judge Memphis, even like forgetting about the health. It's not hard. The Memphis thing was a disaster. They gave up.
They gave up a ton to get him, and they salary dumped him.
Yeah, they gave up
that's all you got to say.
To get him, hoping he was going to be one of the final pieces, bringing him in for leadership and performance, and got neither of those things and salary dumped him after a second-round rookie took the starting job this last year. I think Marcus Smart was dealing with, professional heartbreak the last couple of years in Memphis. I don't believe he ever wanted to be there. This is a guy who envisioned himself being a Celtic his entire career, and then just boom, he's gone. Then watches the Celtics win a championship the very next season. Jackson says Jackson was out at a bar in Boston, which Jackson loves going to those bars. And when people got the Shams notification, and it says there was an audible groan there. Marcus Smart and
Yeah.
that purple and gold is going to be tough for a lot of Celtics fans to stomach, but it is an opportunity for him to get back in a situation where there's going to be spotlight. He's going to be in a high pressure kind of situation, and maybe that's what he needs to get his career back on track, because it certainly went off track the last couple of years.
Yeah, and Marcus is still only 30. He'll be 31 in March. And I do think he'll be motivated and ready to go. The bigger question I have
he's got a player option. He can be he's kind of got it. If he's ever going to get paid again, he's got to have a good year.
This is a setup for him to get paid, going to the Lakers on a huge stage. Can he bounce back and have a really good year? My question is more, does he still have the same ability defensively, and especially, can he stay on the court? Like, he played 61 games 3 years ago, and he's played a combined 54 the last 2. So if he can stay out there, yeah, he's got a chance to be an impact signing for them. And like I said, I get why the Lakers did it, but it's, that there's a lot less certainty about this one, I would say, than, like, for example, all the guys the Clippers landed this summer all are coming off better past years or two on the court wise than Marcus has shown.
Well, I thought one thing about this that I thought was interesting. I know this was reported elsewhere. I checked on it too. That Luka Doncic did some, because I heard like, oh, Luka recruited him, and I said I want to know what. Because sometimes you hear like, oh, he recruited him, and then you peel back the layers and you send him a text. I don't mean Luka. I mean just you hear about players, stars recruiting, and then you hear like, he sent a text like, hey, bro, come to where
we'd love to have you or whatever.
Yeah, right. It's like when you recruit Bontemps to pickup, you let them know the game's going on, but you tell them the wrong time. You can say.
No, I tell them I want you guarding me.
Yeah, you bring those elbows. So I checked this out, and it turns out that Luka called him a couple of times. Luka's over in Europe right now, and regardless of whether Marcus Smart works out, regardless of what the context was, I think the key here is that Luka is acting in concert with the Lakers front office. The Lakers front office obviously targeted Marcus Smart. They knew he was going to get bought out. Several teams were interested in him. The Phoenix Suns, I know, were one of them. And, Luka got the message from the Lakers and followed up on it, apparently several times.
And that is not Luka's natural state. That, like, the first several years of his career, he basically said, hey, I play. The front office puts the team together. I don't want anything to do with it. And he didn't grow up in like the AAU culture where like you're constantly recruiting guys. And matter of fact, it was news that Luka was pushing for roster upgrades the year after. When was that? The year after Brunson's departure, right before they got Kyrie. The news wasn't that the roster needed to be upgraded, and Luka didn't let that be known. The news was that he was actually involving himself in front office discussions. But this is taking this a step further than he has in the past, where he is being a pitchman for the organization. I believe he also had some contact with DeAndre Ayton. And I think that's actually the most significant part of all this, Wendy, because it does show that he's not only on the same page with the Lakers front office, but he is an active participant when, his natural preference has been just like, hey, not my job. I don't want to have to bother myself with that. I want to go hang out during the summer and play for Slovenia.
Well, and listen, if this helps get him to sign an extension next summer, then I don't care if Marcus Smart plays 3 games, right?
If
he's like, get Marcus Smart on the this summer, next month is what I meant to say, not next summer.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I would just say that we can talk about the Lakers' need for perimeter defense. We can question how DeAndre Ayton is going to do with the way he's played the last couple of years. We can question about how Marcus Smart's going to do the way he's played the last couple of years. All of that is relevant. The most important things for the Lakers are Luka related. One, does he get into that contract extension? Again, sometime before the season. It doesn't have to be in August. They can offer to him in August. I'm sure they will. He may not get into that business until later. McMahon, you have described that, he typically doesn't want to do business when he's doing the national team. And two, what does he look like when he gets to the season? Because Luka was not Luka last year. You have a number 3?
Well, I do have a number 3. Number 3, if he's recruiting this aggressively for the biannual exception and a slice of the mid-level, what's he going to do when they have max cap space? I would say that's a pretty, if he's willing to, put forth this kind of effort at the lower price
who's there going to be
points,
to sign?
Well,
listen. It all starts with
aggregated, but
it all starts with number 1. And the rest of it's irrelevant. What Luka looks like in October. Does Luka Doncic sign up for the Lakers long term this offseason or not? If he does,
I think he signs up for the Lakers shorter term.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean that he's not going to be a free agent. I don't care if it's a 2-year extension or whatever. That doesn't matter. If he signs an extension with the Lakers this offseason and commits to the Lakers, it's the only thing that matters. Because then he's with the Lakers. They can go forward and build with him. Because look, yes, the moves the Lakers made this summer were fine. Ayton was a good signing for the situation they were in. Marcus Smart is a good buy low. We'll see if it works out. Jake LaRavia, same thing. He's an interesting younger player. He can maybe grow with them a little bit. This team is not good. Again, I know Laker fans are going to think I'm a hater for saying this. The Lakers are not that good. They weren't that good last year. There was not a realistic path for them to be a championship contender this year to go toe-to-toe with the Thunder in the West with the limited resources they had. So the moves they've made have been solid, but it's not about what can they do to catch the Thunder or what can they do to get in the top 3 teams in the championship chase in the West. I don't think any of that is realistic. It's all about getting Luka Doncic on board with the future and on board with the plan. And if that's the case, the rest of it's gravy.
Quite frankly, the Lakers' goal should be a top 16.
Yes,
that should
for
be
sure.
their goal.
If they could do that, they should be very happy.
I hear all that, and if I want to borrow Mac Tim's Lakers goal uniform and put that on, what I would tell you is, hey, they were the 3rd seed last season with Luka, a shell of himself.
Right.
Luka was out of shape,
right,
and coming off of the worst injury of his career. And look, just judging based on what you see on social media, this is as lean as Luka has been since probably his 2nd season in the league. If this kind of commitment carries over, I mean, Luka's damn sure capable of an MVP type of season.
I think we can put it
he's one of the 3 best players in the league. But look, the Lakers, the spread from 2nd to 8th in the West was 4 games, and the spread from 3rd to 8th in the West was 2 games. So it doesn't saying one team was 3rd, one team was 8th is sort of irrelevant.
My point is they were 3rd.
Top 6.
They were 3rd with